Hello everyone, this is Mikey Garcia.
Yo, it's your boy, the odd guy himself, Malik King Scott.
Hi, I'm Charlie Edwards.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Coastman. Today we have got preview and review, as we do every week. And also today we have a very, very special guest, Peter Fury. Today there's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of drama in the last week or so. We've got Peter Fury here to clear up everything for us. All the listeners, welcome back once again. Today I'm joined, as always, by my panel member, my good friend, Ayaz Sumra. Ayaz, how are you doing?
I'm good, Joey. How are you?
Very good, very good. Okay, let's get into this show. Peter, today there's been an announcement that the fight has been rescheduled for the 28th of November. How did this come about?
Well, Vladimir Klitschko, he's had the all clear from the doctor, I think, earlier on this morning, and the fight's been put back on, so we're all good to go. And
is there any news on if that will be pay-per-view or?
Yes, I understand it will be pay-per-view.
Okay. Is it likely for there to be like the same sort of setup that they had before, where there was going to be an English undercard and then it would go out, or do you reckon it would just be a purely Dusseldorf-based show?
I think it's looking like a purely Dusseldorf-based show now. It's I don't think there's going to be an English undercard. I think it's just going to be the main event and the undercard over there in Germany.
Okay. And also, I see that he's been jogging every day now. 7 o'clock in the morning, you can meet up with him and go jogging with the champ himself. That's good. That's good for the fans. Obviously, again, people didn't like him at first, but now he's turning everyone over, it seems. Everyone's going. People are travelling 2 and 3 hours in the morning to get there just to go for a jog with him. So that's good for his profile, of course.
Well, it is. Tyson is not the person like you think he is, or what perception he gives out. He is quite a nice, genuine fella.
And obviously, we spoke to you before, but Eddie Chambers' fight took place now. He stopped the guy in the second round?
Second or third round, I think.
Yeah, second or third round. So, again, he's obviously another win under his belt, moving on to bigger and better things. Hopefully a shot with Deontay Wilder could materialise in the near future. How do you see that one going if he was to fight Wilder?
I think Eddie Chambers is very underrated. I can see Eddie Chambers. I probably think Eddie Chambers right now is the best in America at this present time. I think he's a very underrated fighter, and I think he definitely deserves his shot.
Last couple of things I've got to say, Peter. Obviously, it seems that every big fight. I mean, how many opponents have pulled out now against Fury? Big fights. I'm not including like your Joey Abels, people that he was fighting on the build up to Chisora, but obviously, Hay pulled out.
It's happened 4 times. He had 2 pullouts with David A. He's had a pullout with Chisora, which got rescheduled, and now this latest one with Vladimir.
Does it affect him? I mean, does it affect him mentally at all? I mean, I know it has happened, like you say, 4 times now. Is it like, oh God, can he pick himself up and go again? Because I know he's a very strong character. How does it affect him mentally if it does?
To be honest, he's this time it doesn't seem to affect him at all. He's been positive. He's kept to his training. We had a good conversation about it, and he agreed with everything I said. And that's it. He's been totally focused this time. His mind's in a good place. He's enjoying himself, and like I said, I gave him the news today, and he was over the moon. So it's not affected anything, to be honest.
We're looking to get Jonathan Banks on the show a little bit later. Any message for Jonathan or his camp?
Well, Jonathan's a class trainer. He's a very, very nice guy. He's a class act himself. I got the greatest respect for their camp, and obviously Vladimir Klitschko. It's this is a sport. For me, it's not about bad mouthing anyone. It's about giving ultimate respect where it's due. Vladimir is the undisputed world champion, and we're here to try and do our best to take it off him. But this is boxing. Everybody does the best he can. We're all in the same business, so full respect to them and everything else. So that's it. There's no hard feelings at all.
Very well said. All right, Peter. Well, thank you very, very much for coming on at such short notice. I mean, literally, we spoke
Thank
about
you,
10 minutes ago.
You're welcome.
We spoke about
No
10
problem.
minutes ago, and then you're in straight away. So thank you very much for that. I wish you the best, and we'll probably speak to you one time just before the fight sometime.
Yeah, thank you very much. God bless. Bye-bye.
You too, Peter. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so we've come back, and a really, 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 really big weekend, should I say, of fights last week. Where should we start? I think we can start a little show. Well, it's not a little show, but there's only one fight on the bill that we were bothered about. This is in Milan, Italy. Paulie Malignaggi got a unanimous decision win over Laszlo Fazekas. 8-round fight it was. Paulie, basically, it was a shutout. He won every round. So obviously, hopefully, Paulie moves on to something bigger in the near future. Ayaz, what do you see? How bright is his future now? I mean, I know that his punch power is not, it's not supersonic. He doesn't put a lot of people away, but he fought this guy Laszlo Fazekas, who many thought that he was just gonna probably get a knockout. He didn't get that knockout. He managed to beat him on points. Fair enough. He won every round. But at his age now, he couldn't get him out of there. It was an 8-rounder. Can he come back on the world stage?
I think he can come back on the world stage. Everyone knows about Paulie Malignaggi. The thing with Paulie, he's got a heart to fight. No matter what, he'll step in the ring with the big names. So I reckon he'll have a couple of fights before he retires.
Before he hangs up the gloves, yeah. Okay, we will move on to the show in Wembley. Frank Buglioni obviously headlining the bill. Now, I watched this show. I watched every fight that they televised. We'll start with Frank Buglioni, of course. The guy just showed tremendous heart. To be honest, he was a big underdog going in. Chudinov was so strong, even though Frank looked in tremendous shape, which he was in tremendous shape. His stature, when he was standing next to Chudinov at the weigh-in, he looked like he was a much bigger guy. He looked huge next to Chudinov. But Chudinov, he's such a strong guy, so accurate. I wouldn't say he's a massive puncher, but he hits hard enough to keep you at bay, to make you, for you to realise he has got a bit of power there. He's got enough power to keep you at bay and, to move you around the ring. He was walking Buglioni down, but every time it looked like Buglioni was sort of on the verge of being, I don't want to say being stopped, but on the verge of, he was taking a bit of a beating. Just when you thought, I'm not sure about this, could the referee jump in? Buglioni just comes back with a combination, and it was a great fight. It really was a great fight. It was a much better fight than most people anticipated. Everyone on social media was talking about it, and it's a shame, really, because Buglioni lost unanimously. A lot of people thought he was going to get stopped in the first or second round, but like I say, he showed tremendous heart. Very you haven't watched it, you've got to watch it. It was brilliant, and I'm gutted for him because a very good guy, very nice guy for the sport, very, very nice guy. And where does he go from here now? I mean, Chudinov was viewed as one of the weakest champions, if any, at the super middleweight division. And I just don't know what Buglioni's going to do. But what I did notice after the fight, Buglioni was asked about where does he go from here. And he literally said, it's back to the drawing board. He didn't seem to be heartbroken. I mean, he was heartbroken, obviously, but he didn't seem like he was going to hang up his gloves or anything like that. I do think he's going to bounce back. But will he be able to capture a belt at world level? I'm not too sure. What's your views on that, Ayaz?
What I reckon is, when a fighter loses, they should obviously they're going to feel bad about this stuff, but with someone like Frank Buglioni, he's going to obviously climb his ladder back to the top. So I reckon in the future he'll get another title shot, and hopefully he can win it.
Yeah, hopefully he can. I'm going to read out some of the results from the Wembley card. Some fights that we're not going to go into huge detail on, but there was a clash. Gary Corcoran against Rick Skelton. Both of these guys had a 13-0 record. Somebody's O had to go. Gary Corcoran moves on to 14-0, whilst Rick Skelton now has one blemish on his record, 13-1. This was a 10-round points decision. Gary Corcoran got the victory. Ryan Walsh managed to win a split decision against Samir Muniemni. I'm not sure if I've got that. I'm not sure if I've got that bang on, but that was for the vacant British featherweight title. Louis Petit, he actually got stopped in the TKO in the 11th round by Bobby Jenkinson. Now, Louis Petit was a huge favourite for this. Bobby Jenkinson pulled an upset off in the 11th round. Again, that's for the vacant Commonwealth super bantamweight title. So Bobby Jenkinson, huge underdog. Like I say, they were saying, I heard somewhere that there was more chance of Buglioni winning the world title than Bobby Jenkinson beating Louis Petit, but the bookies were wrong here. Moving on to the next fight, Ahmet Patterson, 8th round stoppage of Georgi Unigyadze. Again, not too sure on the pronunciation, but Ahmet Patterson now moves up to 16-0. Bradley Skeet with a 3rd round knockout over Mark Thompson for the WBO European welterweight title. Bradley Skeet got a few defences of that title now. We previewed that last week and we actually thought that it was going to probably be a close fight, so we got that pretty wrong. Chisora, oh my gosh. It went the 10 rounds, 10 3-minute rounds, so half an hour absolutely wasted. Chisora stepped in against Marcelo Luis Nascimento. Marcelo Luis Nascimento was a guy who Eddie Chambers fought, if you remember, back in November last year, November 2014, at the Blue Water Shopping Centre, and it was an 8-round contest, and Eddie Chambers couldn't get him out of there. Derek Chisora couldn't get him out of there, but he seemed to be taking Chisora's shots, and Nascimento was firing back as well. And I mean, do you think Chisora can come back to world stage? I mean, obviously, there's arguments that, he was a good European champion. He defended his European title a few times. He lost it to Tyson Fury, of course. Do you think he can go on for anything more than a European title, or do you think he's just set for European title level now, Ayaz?
I reckon he can still get back into the center stage. He can fight the likes of David Price. He can fight the likes of Hughie Fury. He can even fight Deontay Wilder in the future. I reckon Chisora, he's got very good experience in the ring, so I reckon he can have a couple of more big fights.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Chisora, I mean, the guys you just reeled off there, Hughie Fury, 6'6", Deontay Wilder, 6'7". Who was the other guy you said? Price, 6'8". These guys, Chisora's considered a small heavyweight. To be honest, I don't think he'd really have a chance with those guys. But I'm not sure about David Price, because we don't really know what's going on for him mentally, obviously, with a knockout loss to Erkan Tepa. I mean, I'm not sure, but I think Chisora is pretty much done at world level, if I'm honest. I think he should go for the European title. I think he should get a rematch with Robert Helenius, a guy who, got the nod in Finland, if I'm correct, over Chisora, when Chisora pretty much blatantly won the fight. He was robbed there. But yeah, I think he should try to push for the rematch. Moving on to the next fight on the bill, Romeo Romao got a points win over Chris Adaway in 8 rounds. Jamie Kavanagh, points win against Ronaldo Mora. Edis Hussein with a 6-round points win over Alex Phillips. Boy Jones was on the card, of course, 4-round fight he was in against Antonio Horvatic. Antonio Horvatic was the guy that Mitchell Smith knocked out pretty horrifically at York Hall. I think it was earlier this year. Boy Jones won on points in the 4-round contest. Billy Long was on the card, making his second pro fight, and he won his fight over a four round contest, of course. Deontay Wilder. Well, did you catch any of that fight, Ayaz, the Wilder fight?
Yeah, I did. I saw him. Was it the 11th round where you stopped him?
11th round, he stopped Johan Duhaupas. Yeah, talk about that fight for me.
I thought, to be honest, like Johan Duhaupas, no one really knew who this guy was. And I thought, right, okay, Deontay Wilder is gonna actually stop him early in the. I thought Deontay Wilder was gonna knock him out. But to be honest, this guy actually gave it to him and took him all the way to the 11th round. But obviously, Deontay Wilder, with the size and the build, and he actually stopped him, and then Wilder actually stopped him in the 11th round.
Yeah, I mean, Deontay Wilder's very much still an unknown quantity. Everybody thought that he was going to stop Duhaupas early in the fight, but he seemed to go the rounds were passing by, and it just seemed like it was going to be a comfortable points win. But he stops him in the 11th round. Down the card, Charles Martin, a knockout artist heavyweight, stepped in against Vicente Sandez. Charles Martin with a TKO victory in the 3rd round. Sandez was down in the 2nd round and the 3rd round, and the contest was waved off. Charles Martin, he's now 22-0 with the 1 draw. Prospect for the future, remember his name. Andrzej Warzik was on the card. He stopped Mike Shepard in the 3rd round. And then moving all the way over to Tachi Palace Hotel and Casino in California, where we was talking about Andy Ruiz Jr. He was fighting Joel Godfrey with a record of 17 wins and 14 losses, and Andy Ruiz Jr. couldn't get him out of there. It was only an 8-rounder, but he picks up another win, 25-0. And I think that's it for last week's fights. Any news in the week you want to talk about, Ayaz?
Any news in the week?
News in the week?
I heard this week in the news, I heard Amir Khan calling out, telling Kell Brook to step up and fight the likes of Timothy Bradley and Marcus Maidana in order to build his profile and have a big fight in 2016.
How do you think he would fare against Maidana and Bradley, Brook?
Brook, well, Maidana, we all know him in his experience. Like he's a very tough fighter, right? He's fought the likes of Amir Khan. He's fought the likes of Floyd Mayweather. So I reckon he'll give Kell Brook a tough fight. But I reckon Kell will nick it.
Yeah, I think Kell's a lot more clinical, accurate, better boxer all round. And his experience is growing now. Obviously, Maidana, he can go in the trenches. He's a dog fighter. He's a pressure fighter. He swings in at crazy angles. He's a guy that you'd put in there. No one looks great against Maidana, to be honest. Khan didn't look great against Maidana. Mayweather in the first fight didn't look great against Maidana. In the second fight, Mayweather worked him out and managed to win a little bit easier, in my opinion. But if you look at any of Maidana's fights, he doesn't get beaten easily. How do you see that fight going, Kell Brook against Tim Bradley, Ayaz?
I reckon it'll be a very good fight. It'll be a very close fight, right? Because obviously Bradley, we know Bradley, right? He's fought the bigger oppositions, the likes of Juan Marquez. He's fought the likes of Manny Pacquiao. But I reckon, in my opinion, with Kell's punching power, accuracy, and obviously, in my opinion, I reckon he's probably one of the best defensive fighter. I reckon he'll nick it in the last round on points.
I mean, Brooke, obviously, again, is still a little bit, I don't want to say an unknown quantity, but Brooke is like, he's got the win over Porter. He shocked a lot of people with that win. Ever since then, he's fought Frankie Gavin. I think that was pretty much an easy fight. He's fought Jojo Dan. We haven't really seen him against enough top 10, real world contenders. But if he were to step in there against Tim Bradley, it is a tough fight. And to be honest, I wouldn't know where to put my money. I want to say Kell Brook, but Bradley he is so good. And again, his style is so awkward, not very much power, but he really can make the fight ugly. But then again, he can really make the fight exciting. Obviously, if you've seen his fight with Provodnikov, his fights with Pacquiao, So I'm not too sure about that fight. It'll be close. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the show is called Preview and Review, so we have to review the forthcoming fights of the weekend. Friday night, we have Oval Mackenzie stepping in to fight Victor Emilio Ramirez. This fight is taking place in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Oval Mackenzie was only given 11 days to prepare for this fight. Only given 11 days. But he was in good shape anyway, as always. He's always in good shape, Oval. And it's a really, really close fight. It's for the IBF world title. How do you see this one going, Ayaz? Do you know much about his opponent, Victor Emilio Ramirez? Record is 22 wins and 2 losses.
I don't know much about his opponent, right? But obviously, like you said about his record. But I reckon in 11 days' notice to have a fight for an IBF title, that's very short, to be honest. But if he's put the work, if he's put the training in before, and he tries his hardest in the fight, I reckon hopefully he should get the title.
Yeah, and also another thing about this fight, Oval Mackenzie, big puncher. Victor Emilio Ramirez has never been stopped, but we've all seen what Oval can do when he lands. Because I've seen him put out the likes of Tony Conquest, the likes of John Lewis Dickinson. Obviously, they're not world title level, but the guy can crack. And if Oval lands on pretty much anyone in the cruiserweight division, he's in for a chance of winning the fight because he's got a lot of power. Again, his record is really horrible, to be honest. It's 25 wins, 12 losses. But that really doesn't represent, the momentum that he carries at the moment. Obviously, he hasn't lost for 2 years. He lost against Enzo Maccarinelli, but also the fight before that, he beat Enzo Maccarinelli. So he hasn't lost outright since 2011, which was to Tony Bellew. But I really hope he can do it. The more belts, the merrier that are brought back to the UK. And I wish him all the best. Hopefully we will be getting him on the show sometime next week. But yeah, I'll be tuning in. Anything to add on that, Ayaz?
No, all I've got to say is good luck to Oval Mackenzie.
Yeah, we all hope he does it. Okay, we've got the matchup on the weekend between Lucas Matisse, Victor Postol. Ayaz, I know you're going to probably want to start on this one. Talk about this fight for us.
All I've got to say, this fight is going to be a war. We know Lucas Matisse, right? Every fight he has is always exciting, no matter what. I remember watching his last fight against Ruslan Provodnikov. No matter what, that probably has to be the fight of the year. With this fight, I can see hopefully winning the belt, and I reckon, in my opinion, fighting Manny Pacquiao next. There's been rumours about that.
Wow. That would be a big fight. Obviously, Lucas Matisse coming into this contest with a record of 37-3, 37 wins, 34 by knockout. Victor Postol, unbeaten, 27 wins, 11 knockouts, 27-0. Again, it doesn't carry much power, Victor Postol, but a good all-round boxer. And again, this is for the WBC World Super Lightweight title, or as you may call it, as I call it most of the time, light welterweight, 140 division. Victor Postol, to be honest, he's one of those fights. If he can box Matisse, I can see Postol probably winning on points. But if Matisse lands on his punch is just incredible, isn't it? You know, we've seen him knock out the likes of Lamont Peterson. You know, he's got ferocious power in his right hand, and he really can crack. And an underrated boxer himself, which is what also gives a little bit of a twist on this fight. I'm not saying that Victor Postol could outbox Matisse completely, because Matisse, like I say, he's an underrated boxer, and he can definitely crack. So if my money's on points, I've got to give it to Postol. If it's by knockout, then I'm certainly giving it to Lucas Matisse. Moving over to Cincinnati, Ohio. We're only going to talk about one fight on the card because only one fight is relevant. Mr. AB, about billions, arse beating Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner, I remember not too long ago, had an undefeated record himself, but now we see him with 30 wins, 2 losses. Those 2 losses, obviously, to Maidana, who we spoke about earlier in the show, and most recently to Sean Porter. He steps in against Khabib I really can't say this guy's name. Khabib Alakverdiev. I hope I've got that right. 19-1. Again, not much punching power in his opponent, Alakverdiev. He's only got the 9 knockouts in 19 fights, but this is a big fight. He's coming off the back of a loss as well. Alakverdiev, he's coming off a loss to Jesse Vargas. That's his one loss. But this fight's for the vacant WBA World Super Lightweight title. Again, Super Lightweight, also the same thing as light welterweight. If Broner wins this fight, he becomes a 4-weight world champion. What do you have to say about that, Ayaz?
Wow, that's gotta be that's amazing. I reckon, to be honest, with this fight, I reckon Broner's going to easily win it. When he stepped in and fought in at the top 147 division, right? The problem with Broner was he was, for his weight, and height, he's not big enough to fight the likes of Porter. The likes of when he fought Porter, he didn't do much in that fight, and when Porter beat him, he fought Maidana. Maidana was big enough. I reckon if he stays at light welterweight, I reckon he can rule that division.
Yeah, another thing, they're both coming off of losses. Obviously, Broner lost to Porter this year, back in June the 20th this year. And I've just noticed that Alakverdiev has been out of the ring for 18 months. He lost on a 12-round unanimous decision, but it was pretty close with Jesse Vargas. So, a bit of ring rust probably. 18 months out the ring, so... But he's a southpaw, so you never know. But I think Broner will probably win and possibly knock him out. Obviously, this is, again, everybody thinks that Broner was excellent at lightweight. This is it's just 5 pounds up. I'm not sure if it's been made at a catch weight or anything like that, but it is for the 140 title, and Broner was excellent at 135, so I'm pretty sure that again, these guys are smaller. When he did move up to welterweight, 147, he wasn't able to carry that power up there, but he's back down now, and we'll see. And another thing, everybody's seen the pictures of Broner, the way he balloons up in between fights. We've seen him looking looking really, really, really heavy. Almost looked like a cruiserweight. One picture I saw of him. So getting down to this weight again, after going up to welterweight, that could take something out of him as well. So again, it is pretty intriguing, but I have to say I can't go against AB here. I think that concludes it for this show. Good luck to Oval Mackenzie tonight. Good luck to Matisse, Brona, all the other guys that are fighting tomorrow night. No UK shows on TV, unfortunately. Hopefully we can all get you to come back next week and tune in for our preview and review show 3. Wish you all the best. Good luck over the weekend, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much.